Today I'm going to show you how to add beads to your I-cord. You will need, of course, a pair of double-pointed needles, or you can use circular needles instead. You'll need beads that will fit onto the yarn that you'd like to use, of course. And usually when I knit with beads, I like to add them one at a time as I go instead of pre-stringing. However, for adding them to I-cord, it is more convenient to have them strung onto your yarn beforehand. So I just wanted to show you really quickly how I'm getting the beads onto my yarn. I'm just using my crochet hook here and putting the bead onto the crochet hook, then taking my yarn and just pulling it through the bead. You can string the beads in whatever way you like, of course. This is just what works for me. And once you have all of your beads on, you're ready to go. Now I'm just going to cast on 5 stitches using the long tail method. Whoops, my yarn's a little splitty here. Okay, now I'm just going to knit my first row here before I add beads. Okay. And now I'm just going to knit 2 stitches before I add a bead. You can add them anywhere you like on your I-cord. You can have as many or as few as you want, or if you're following a pattern, of course, you would put the beads on as directed by your pattern. Okay, so for this first method, you obviously need to have your bead pulled up here. And you want to hold the yarn in front of your work and put the bead up nice and close to the stitch on your right needle here. And slip the next stitch on your left needle as if you were going to purl. And now I find it helpful to hold the bead in place with my thumbnail while I continue working. The yarn's going to go back to the back of the work, and you're just going to knit the rest of your stitches. Or add more beads if you like. Depends on what you're doing. Okay, I'm just going to knit another plain row here so you can see the bead on there a little bit better. And like I said, you can put as many or as few beads on as you like. Okay. And it'll look better once you get more of your I-cord knit. And it's starting to make its tube shape. Okay, I will show you that method one more time. I'm going to knit 2 stitches again and then put my bead on. Okay, slide the bead up. Hold the yarn at the front of the work. Slip the next stitch on your left needle purlwise. Yarn goes in the back and continue knitting. And there you go. There are your beads. And you don't have to have them going up the center like this here, of course. Like I said, put them anywhere you want. It doesn't really matter, whatever you like. Alright, I'm just going to knit a plain row here really quickly, and then I will show you the second method of adding beads to your I-cord. Okay, this time I think I'm going to knit 3 stitches and then add a bead. So there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so for this method, again, obviously you need to slide your bead up Now this time, insert your right needle into the next stitch on the left needle as if you were going to knit it. And then make sure that your bead is in a position where it's going to come through the stitch. It can be a little tricky, but there you go. And continue knitting. Now when you get to this stitch on the next row, you're going to treat it a little differently than you did with these beads to make sure that it's in the front of your work. So I'm knitting until I get to the stitch with the bead on it. And now what you want to do is you want to just slide that bead to the back like that and knit. And then your bead should pop out on the front of your I-cord. And if not, you can just give it a little push to help it out. Whoops. Let me grab those guys really quick. Okay, I'll show you that one more time. I think I'll just knit 2 stitches again and then put a bead on. Okay, slide your bead up. Stitch goes into the next, or your needle goes into the next stitch as if to knit. Make sure that your bead is right there. Pull it through. Continue knitting or adding beads. And then again, when you get to that stitch with the bead on the next row, you need to make sure that you slide it to the back and then knit. Just give it a little push to help them come through there. But there you go. That is how to add beads to your I-cord.